I've heard you make an interesting point about time with your children. And, I will say this, we're, as I mentioned, in this nice community, and it's hard to find other kids who are free on the weekends to play. Everybody's overscheduled. Everybody's got 3 games a Saturday, 3 games a Sunday. And so it's like, back when I was a kid, we'd run over to the neighbor's house, knock on the door, we'd play. We'd come back when the street lights came on, hang out with our parents, had to have dinner together every night. So you kind of had a good mix of friends and family. We're leading very different lives now. But I know that you've made the point, if you are said big, busy parent who has an overscheduled child, don't kid yourself. Driving the kid from A to B, it can be good, you can make it, but it's not exactly the quality time you're looking for.
Yeah. So some of the research, and again, my brand, if you like, is I'm always evidence-based. I'm always finding studies to support the claims I'm making and not just going off the cuff guessing. And one of the studies I cite in this regard, we've got a number of them, but I'll just tell you about one. Frank Algard and his colleagues looked at adolescents coast to coast and asked them, in the last 7 days, how many evening meals have you had at home with at least one parent? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. And found this huge effect. The more evening meals you have at home with a parent, the less likely that kid is to be anxious or depressed, the more likely that kid is to have a positive self-concept. We've got many, many such studies now. You got to fight for supper at home with your kid. And, I see these parents pulling up in Carline and they're driving their daughter to a computer coding class and then to travel team soccer and eating a sandwich on the way from computer coding class to travel team soccer. And the unintended message they're sending is that being amazing and having all these things on your resume is more important than a relaxed meal at home with family. And then they wonder why their daughter's so anxious. Don't do that. Cancel the computer coding class if it conflicts with supper. Prioritize supper time. Got so much good evidence on this. Fight for supper at home. It is now becoming common for kids in the United States not to have an evening meal at home with their parents. Again, a generation ago, that was the default. Now it's not. You can make it the default. You've got to fight for time at home with your kids, and it's got to start with supper time. No devices at the dinner table, no TV on during the dinner table. You can watch Megyn Kelly on YouTube after supper. But supper time is the time to talk to your kids, to listen to your kids, to have time together around the dinner table. It's so important. You can do it. It costs nothing, but it does require courage.
The infiltration of social media tries to stop this, right? It's there to stop this. It's there to lure your child back to the device and away from you and away from all the things that are good for them. And now, so my kids now are 13, 11, almost 12, and 9. And the 13-year-old's a boy, so he's not that into it. I was telling the audience a couple of weeks ago, I checked his screen time on his phone, and he's averaging 7 minutes a day. So we're good. We're good. Now, my 11-year-old is a girl, and we're in a different scenario there. She doesn't have a phone, but she would love to spend more time on that iPad, and she would love for me to get her a phone tomorrow. And we haven't started the bad habits yet, but they're lurking. So I've heard you say, this is one of your overall criticisms of parenting today, and also specific on this issue, be the parent. Your job is not to be liked. Your job is to be the parent. And when it comes to this issue, you need to grow a pair and say, no, you will not have your phone in your room at night, and I don't care if you're upset. And there are all sorts of other limits as well. Take it from there.
Yeah, so the phone in the bedroom. First of all, you're absolutely right. No child under 13 should have a smartphone, and most 13-year-olds are not ready for it. My daughter, who is wonderful, did not get her smartphone until her 15th birthday, and no phones in the bedroom. At 9 o'clock at night, the very latest, you take the device, you switch it off, and you put it in the charger, which stays in the parent's bedroom. She can have it back tomorrow morning. This has to be your call. And I've said to parents, I've counseled parents, no phones in the bedroom, and the parent will say, oh, my daughter would totally freak out if I tried to take her phone from her. The parent is intimidated by their daughter, who happened to be 12 years old in this case. You have to have the courage to do the right thing. No phones in the bedroom. We've got so much good research showing that the presence of a phone in the bedroom impairs the kid's sleep, even if it's turned off. And parents are amazed to find that half the ninth grade class is awake and texting at 2 a.m. Emily and Jason just broke up. This is really big news. We'll have to talk about this. This has to be your call, the parent's call. It is not reasonable to put this burden in the lap of your 14-year-old daughter. What is she supposed to say tomorrow in school when her friend says, hey, I texted you last night at midnight. How come you didn't answer? Is your 14-year-old supposed to say, well, researchers have found that sleep deprivation in adolescence is a major risk factor in the etiology of anxiety and depression. And hence, I turn my phone off each night. Now, that's ridiculous. You can't allow her to talk. You can't expect her to talk like that. You have to allow her to say, hey, my evil parents take my phone every night at 9, won't let it have back till the next morning. This has to be your call. So I say to parents of teenagers, you have to take the phone away from your kid. And I warn them, if that's not been the practice in your home, if you've let your kid have the phone in the bedroom, they're going to be upset. They're not going to applaud. They're going to be upset. They're going to say, well, I use it as my alarm clock. Let them know they still make actual alarm clocks. You can go to the store and buy one. And then your daughter may get really upset. She may say, well, what if there's an emergency? Remind her that you still have a phone in your bedroom. If your friend has a true emergency, she's welcome to call you. And you will pick up at 2 a.m. and you will decide if this emergency warrants waking your daughter up at 2 a.m. It probably doesn't. It can probably wait. Parents have to do the right thing. And again, the concern I have is that so many American parents are now timid. Incidentally, the title of the book, the original title was The Collapse of American Parenting, and the subtitle was Why Most Kids Would Now Be Better Off Raised Outside North America. And I made that argument because I've spoken on this topic to parents in England, Scotland, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Australia, New Zealand. Parents in those countries don't let their kids have phones in the bedroom. But in this country, we do. American parents are less comfortable exercising authority than parents outside North America. Well, if you're not a celebrity, you don't get to choose your title or subtitle. But they did allow me to keep in the chapters. So there's a chapter in The Collapse of Parenting showing that American kids are now much more likely than kids in Europe or Australia or New Zealand to be anxious, depressed. An American kid is now 40 times more likely to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder compared to a kid in Germany. An American kid is 14 times more likely to be on medication for ADHD compared to a kid in the United Kingdom. An American kid is 93 times more likely to be on medications like Risperdal, Zyprexa, Seroquel compared to a kid in Italy. American parenting has become toxic because American parents have stepped back and they let kids decide. That in many domains, like when to get a phone and whether to have a phone in your bedroom, you're really putting your kid at great risk. It's your job to be the parent to me. I mean, what's the point of parenting? Why? A 4-year-old horse is a mature adult. The Kentucky Derby is raced with 3-year-olds. A 4-year-old human has barely begun. And a horse is a bigger animal than a human. So what's the point of childhood? It can't just be about biological maturation because a horse is fully mature at age 4 and a horse is a bigger animal than a human. Humans are children or adolescents for more years than most animals live. Why? Why does development take so long in our species? Well, we don't have to guess. We've got scholars like Dr. Melvin Conner at Emory, who's devoted his career to studying this question, wrote this 700-page tome titled The Evolution of Childhood, comparing development in our species with development in other species. Why is childhood so long? It's so long because it takes many years for human parents to teach the child what the child needs to know. That's your job, to teach the child.
Maybe you've heard me talk about Bonner Private Wine Partnership in the past. Well, listen up. Got an update for you. These guys have these incredibly rare Malbecs that you absolutely have to try, and they have a great deal for you. If you enjoy a glass of wine, try these wines from the extreme altitudes of Argentina. The flavor is unlike any other. Blackberry, leather, smoke, little dark cherry. And these wines are nearly impossible to get on your own. The producers deep in the Andes Mountains make limited quantities. The best part is they've now cut out the middleman for you, so you won't deal with a big markup. And today we have a new offer for you. If you visit bonnerprivatewines.com/MKS, BONNER privatewines.com/MKS, you will not only get the wine for over 50% off plus free shipping, you will also get a bonus bottle of small batch limited wine production from their exclusive wine cellar. That's 4 bottles for the price of 3. It's a deal that's hard to turn down if you're a wine lover like I am. Visit Bonner, Bonner, privatewines.com/MKS to claim your bonus bottle and become a part of America's most unique wine club. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.